All of them live? Are we live everywhere? Are we live and in living color? Maybe, possibly.
Facebook's working on it.
Facebook's thinking about joining the live action here. It's a Friday. It is Automotive Fridays, and we are live in rainy Central Florida right now, Orlando, living the dream. Give it just a second. We got a couple more people connecting here on Facebook. We want to make sure we get our Facebook friends in, and we're going to get rocking and rolling. Maybe we're going to rock and roll. All right, we're going to get going. It's 2:00. It is 2:00 Friday, May 18th. Happy Automotive Fridays. And today we're talking about being obsessed or being average. We're going to talk about that specifically with how that relates to what you're doing out on the lot. It is the key element to you taking it to the next level as a salesperson. So when we look at what's coming up in the automotive business over the next 10 days, we're going into one of the best selling weeks of the year, starting today. Today through next weekend, through Memorial Day, this really is one of the better selling weeks that we can have in the automobile business. You guys need to be prepared. You need to be excited. You need to be obsessed about your product, your dealership, and yourself, and be ready to go all in with the customers. You need to make sure that your appointments are set, that your managers are confirming them, that you're staying on top of all your lead opportunities. Want to make sure that we're really keying things up to have a successful weekend. So let's jump into this. Let's talk about be obsessed or be average for a second. I was today specifically, I want to talk about what we have going on in regards to actually doing that dramatic demonstration out on the lot, how we can sell that product when we're out there talking to a customer. And it made me think about something that's in the Be Obsessed or Be Average book. It says, get obsessed with your product. You and your employees need to be engaged and passionate about what you're selling. To make sure you're continuing to be engaged with sales, ask yourself these questions. And these are simple questions, right? Is what I'm doing making a difference for the better? Is my selling cars to people, the car I'm selling, is that making a positive impact in their life? Yeah, I hope it is. Do I love my product? Man, I hope so. I hope that's why you're selling it. Do I love selling my product? If you're not passionate about the automobile business, it's kind of hard to be successful with it, right? Do I own my own product? I know that sometimes we end up with negative equity in the car business from trading too often, but man, we need to be driving what we're selling. We really do. Have I insisted that my family buy the product that I'm selling, right? Are your friends and families driving your What's It Mobile that you're selling? Should people go into debt for my product? Yep, that's the only way that most people are going to afford it. I know that for a fact. And do I continue to call people back even after they tell me they're not interested? Those are some key questions to ask yourself about whether you're ready to go. And Grant says, if you are, you're ready. So let's just get all the way in, and so that we can head on into figuring out how to close. So I'm going to pull out one of my workbooks here. This is the 10X Your Sales Process 100% write-up. We're going to talk about those steps that happen right before we get into the write-up. Right? A write-up, when we talk about a write-up, our goal is very simple. We want to write up as many customers as we possibly can. What does that even mean? It means we want to offer figures to purchase to a customer. So if we're saying 100% write-up, how do you get to 100% write-up? Well, you got to have 100% greeting. You got to have 100% needs assessment. Got to have 100% selection and demonstration, 100% trial closes, assume the sale, and then you can get to 100% write-up. So right now, we've met that customer. We've offered them information. We've transitioned through, done some needs assessment work with them. We've gathered some information about them. And now we're sliding into the selection and demonstration process. And we talk about this a lot in the sales industry. And this is one of those things that really is hard for us salespeople sometimes. Because here's the reality. If I'm going out, I'm just picking a car right now. If I'm going out and I'm selling a Nissan Altima, and this Altima is nicely equipped, it's one of the cars that we've got advertised for sale. It's decent, right? It's got cloth, it's got some equipment, it's got Bluetooth, it's got some good functionality. It's not really as nice as that really fancy, I don't even know what the next model up is called, SLE or whatever it is, with leather and a sunroof and a 3.5 liter V6 and all the other bells and whistles, right? So sometimes as a salesperson, it's hard to get excited about what we see as an average product when we're looking at these other products that we're have on the lot, and it's tough, right? It's tough. It actually can mess up your head. So we have to think about this. That car that we're showing to the customer is new and it's special to them. We need to be excited about it. right? I tell salespeople all the time, if you can do $1 million walk around on the least expensive model of each car that you sell, you're going to be successful. The reason why is simple. Those cars are the bread and butter of our industry. And if we can get passionate and we can get excited about selling those cars and about how we deliver the information to the customer in those, we're going to be successful when it comes to selling cars. Okay. There's all kinds of things that have been said about what happens during a product presentation. We definitely have moved into an era where it doesn't get the emphasis that I think it needs to. So I'm in the car business. I started selling cars in 1989, right? I'm old. The vast majority of my life has been spent around automobiles. And I bought her a car a couple of years back from a friend of mine, Charlie Seabach, up in Virginia. And Charlie was selling these cars, right? This was a Toyota Sequoia at the time. And I was looking for a Sequoia, right? I wanted to find a used one. I'm kind of cheap too, right? I was trying to find a used one. He couldn't get me a good deal on a used Sequoia. So I went up there to see them, right? I went up to see them at their dealership. And when I got there, he's like, let me show you that Sequoia I've got for you, this new one. Let me show you this new one. I'm like, no, man, I don't need to see it. It's more money than I want to spend. He's like, no, we need to go look at this Sequoia. Just hang on. I'm going to pull it around front. I'm going to let you look at it. So he goes out onto the lot, grabs the car, brings it around and parks it there. Now I walk outside with him, right? And I look at it. Hey, it's white. That's what I wanted. It's got gray leather interior. That's what I wanted, right? I'm looking at the car and I'm in the business, right? I've been around this business for 30 years. And you know what Charlie does? He starts doing a walk around. Not just any walk around, but a walk around tailored specifically to me because Charlie knows me, right? We're friends. He knows what I like to do. He knows about my family. He knows what my hobbies are. And he starts tailoring that product presentation on the Sequoia to me. So here I am looking at the Sequoia, no intention of buying a new vehicle. He starts doing the walk around and I find my head doing the bobblehead thing. I'm like, wait, wow, that's amazing. I didn't know it did that. That's a great feature. And he's throwing in the trial, closes, the assumption, the receipt, as we call it when he does that feature benefit, right? Feature benefit. Isn't that something you'd want to have on your next vehicle, Derek? And I'm like, yeah, man, I couldn't imagine having a car without that, right? So he does the walk around. He takes me through it. He puts me in the passenger seat. He takes me for a drive. And as we're driving it, he's telling me more features and continuing to engage me. We get to the turnaround spot. He parks the car, gets out, does a couple more features at the turnaround. I get into the driver's seat. He gets me all adjusted. And as we start driving down the road, he looks over at me and he goes, man, can you imagine looking up in the rearview mirror and seeing your boat being pulled behind this thing? I was like, yes, I can. And guess what? We came back to the dealership and I bought that Sequoia. And you know why? Because Charlie did something that nobody else that I've been dealing with had done. And they got me emotionally involved in that product presentation, right? He used my senses. He used imagination, and he got me emotionally involved in that product presentation. I've been around the business forever. I got excited. I bought the car. Now I want you to think about that, right? How often do we shortcut that element when we're with a customer? Probably too often, okay? And part of it is that we're just not as excited about that base model as we are this one over here that's totally loaded up. While the base model might be a better solution for our customer, sometimes it's hard to get excited about it, right? I'm challenging you today. Every time you go out there and it's on a base model, I want you to do the presentation like this is the greatest car that you've ever demoed in your life, because your enthusiasm, your passion, your obsession for the product that you're selling is what's going to carry over to the customer. It's going to help you take to the next level. Okay. So there's three things that I want to talk about right now in regards to the dramatic demonstration. Number one, there's a couple of commitments we need to make. First one, it's very simple. No one else does my presentation. How many times have you had a customer that you've been talking to that's there at the lot and says, man, I don't need to drive the car. I don't even need to look at it. You just need to tell me, can you beat this deal, or what's your best price, right? They tell you that at that moment in time. What are you hearing from the customer, right? Well, why don't you need to drive it, right? Well, I don't need to look at it because I already looked at it. I looked at it at XYZ Motors. Okay, think about that for a second. The salesperson at XYZ Motors did not sell them a car. They didn't. I don't want to let that person determine if I'm going to sell this next vehicle. I need to make a commitment that nobody else does my demo. It's me, period, end of story, right? Under no circumstances will I shortcut my demo, right? Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of demos that go like this. Hey, there's a car. It's got 4 wheels, a key, and a heater. Let's go look at the numbers. Okay, that's not going to get you where you want to be. That's not going to get a customer emotionally involved in the process. That's not going to get a customer excited about what you're showing them, right? We need to build emotional excitement based on the information that we gathered in our needs assessment. Remember, it's tailored. That's the whole key thing here. And my demonstration will be emotionally charged. I know there's all kinds of war stories about us selling cars and about things that happened back in the old days. But when I first started selling cars in Auburn, Alabama, we would actually have a competition on Saturdays. We'd put money in a kitty in the morning about who could get their customer to get inside the bed of the truck on the showroom floor. And if you could get the whole family that you're demoing the vehicle to get inside the bed of the truck and jump up and down on the showroom floor, you won the kitty, right? Now, we were doing it for the wrong reason. We were doing it because we were betting money, right? We weren't doing it because we were building emotional excitement. But you know what tended to happen with those customers that we did that with? They tended to buy a car because we got them engaged, right? We got them involved, okay? So I don't want you doing that, but I want you to think about what's happening here. If you're passionate, again, right? What's going to end up happening? Hey, you can be obsessed or you can be average, right? Be obsessed about your product. Be obsessed about it and show the customer your excitement when you're showing them the car. All right, so what do we need to know? Remember, we've talked about it already, what we're gathering as far as our needs assessment. We need to know the purpose of the new vehicle. What are they going to do with it? What are the driving habits? Where are they driving it? City, highway, what's happening? Why are they considering a purchase today, right? Whether they're getting a used car that's new to them or a new vehicle, why are they even considering a vehicle now? What do they like least about their present vehicle? What do they like most about their present vehicle? What do they like least and most about the new vehicle that they're looking at? And then how many other drivers are involved in this? Okay. So a couple of things. One, I think I've said this before, but it bears repeating. Based on all the data that we're seeing from the manufacturers, when a customer comes to your lot, they're very model specific. Okay. That means that in that 8 hours, 9 hours of internet research that they've been doing, by the time they get to you, they're going like this. Okay, I know I want this model and this color with this equipment. Okay. Sometimes that changes the way that we engage a customer, and we get too focused on going straight into trying to find that exact vehicle instead of presenting the vehicles that we have on the lot, showing the features and benefits, building value in those features and benefits, and then trying to sell them either a car that's on the lot that's close to what the ideal car was, or then trying to locate one. Okay. So remember, if you go right to what they've done all the research on, it's very likely that you're not going to have that chance to do your own demo, right? Nobody else does my demo, right? Don't let the customer do your demo online by looking at the information there. Okay. So very important part there. So we're talking about senses, right? Emotionally charged. I said it before that the difference between an average salesperson and a great salesperson is the words you choose to use. Okay. So as we're doing our product presentation, we need to use powerful words that convey the message to what we're after, right? People learn different ways. Some learn by seeing, some learn by hearing, some learn by feeling or doing, right? That's a basic thing in psychology. So as we're engaging the customer, let's play to those senses as we're doing our product presentation. So what are some words that we can use for sight? See this, look at that, right? How does that look, right? Do you like the look of, right? We're engaging the sense of sight by the way that we phrase that. How about feel? Feel the glass, feel the leather, feel the paint, feel the coolness of the air conditioning, feel the smoothness of the ride, right? So we can use feel, sound, right? Hear the engine, hear the radio, hear the soundproofing. Smell, well, who doesn't love the new car smell? My family and I, we own a car wash, and at that car wash, the number one seller of those little fragrance trees, new car smell. Imagination. Hey, where do you see yourself driving? Where are you going to take your first trip? Who's going to be the first person you're going to show the vehicle to? What are the people at work going to think when you pull up in this car, right? So we start using that imagination, that sense of being to get them engaged in this. So as we look at this, right, we got to be obsessed. We got to be passionate about our product. We need to believe in our product. Ideally, you're driving your product. I tell salespeople all the time, hey, maybe you can't buy a new one of your product, but at least drive a used one, right? So now I believe in my product. I'm passionate about my product. I'm willing to do just as dramatic of a demonstration on this $24,000 Altima as I am on this $33,000 Altima. Okay. It's not about me. It's about the customer. It's about the customer. This has got to be exciting to them. Okay. And there's a reason they're here. There's a reason they looked at that car, and there's a reason they're interested in it. You need to make sure that you found that when you're doing your needs assessment so you can tailor your product presentation to that. Okay. So listen to this. Can you hear the quality of the liner and insulation used throughout the interior? This will allow you a quieter, more enjoyable ride and more peace of mind. Are these types of benefits something you would like? Right? So this is the feature, the benefit, and then what we call the receipt, which is where we add the tangible value to it. Okay. So as you look at this, one of the things that we are really well known for is offering alternatives to customers. We believe if the only time you're offering alternatives is at the end in the negotiations where you say, well, you can't afford this car, let's go look at a cheaper one, you failed. Okay. So we need to do this earlier in the process. So maybe we're looking at an SL Altima and we want to offer an SV Altima. So the SL Altima has all this different equipment that we've shown them, and we can actually say, hey, this package, the SL, over here, I have an SV. It's a very similar car, same engine, same transmission, but it doesn't have the leather. It doesn't have the Bluetooth. It doesn't have the whatever. It'll save you about $3,000 though, or $60 a month in payment. Would you consider the SV? No, I want the SL. What have you just done? You've established a tangible value. You've established a monetary value for those features that the customer just told you that they want. It's the reason why the selection alternative is so powerful. I said it a couple of weeks ago. Selection alternative is the only sales technique I know that works whether the customer says yes or no. If they say yes, I would consider it. You've got a customer that's money focused, and we need to look at what we can do to help them save money. If I get a customer that says, no, I don't want the alternative, they just told you they're willing to pay the extra dollars for the vehicle that they're looking at. Okay. So think about this. You have to be passionate about the product. Doesn't matter if you're selling $1 million car, if you're selling a $20,000 car. You have to be passionate about it. Okay. So now we're out there. We're passionate. We know how to use the senses to intensify emotional involvement. Every single manufacturer has training that you guys are going through that talks about how to do a walk around, right? The hood, the trunk, you start here, you go to the driver's side, you go to the back rear, you come around to the side, you put the customer inside, you talk about the inside, you go around, you get in the car, and you take them for a test drive. Okay, right? Every single manufacturer's got that. So I want you to think about this. If I just start spewing back product information to the customer that's not tailored to them, how much attention are they going to pay to it, and how valuable is that? Is that being passionate, or is that just playing back information? So if I'm sitting there going, hey, well, the paint job on this, as you can see, it's really nice. It's a 7-step dip and spray process. Starts with a zinc primer and finishes with a clear coat enamel, right? They don't care necessarily. Maybe they do. Maybe they told you that their last car rusted out and you need to tell them why this one won't. But if that's what you're leading with, that's not tailored to what they're interested in, it's probably not going to be as successful as it could be. So be passionate and make sure that your passion mirrors the things that they've told you about. Remember, what do you like most about your present vehicle? What do you like least about your present vehicle? Those two questions right there are going to lead you to what you need to be selling on the next vehicle. What do you like most? I love the ride. It's a great ride. What do you like least? The radio. It was really crappy. I thought it was going to be nicer than what it was. I know the two things that I am going to be definitely hitting on, and I'm going to be passionate about: the ride and the radio when I'm doing my product presentation, right? That's how we're going to get that $1 million product presentation, that dramatic double dollar demonstration. So as I'm engaging the customer, remember, it doesn't matter what car we're selling. I can go through an hour of a product presentation on a car that's got no equipment. Doesn't make it any more valuable to the customer because they might not care about the things you're talking about. Make sure you're targeting them and you're using those targeted areas, that tailored stuff, to make the presentation. I was working on a project with Chrysler, and they use SUVP&S, and safety, utility, value, performance, and styling, I think, are the SUVP&S. I could be wrong. But it was a great way for their salespeople to look at it, because if a customer is safety conscious, right, you know what safety features to point out as you go around the vehicle. If they're looking for utility, you know which utility features to point out. So I like that conceptually because it helped the salespeople kind of get that in their head. So remember that tailored product presentation has to be passionate. It has to be passionate about things that they care about. Let's use our emotional senses, right? Let's use sight, feel, sound, smell, imagination. Let's use those to ensure that we're doing a good product presentation, and let's ensure that we're getting the customer engaged, right? That they're touching, that they're feeling, that they're moving the seat, that they're adjusting stuff, they're opening and closing the hood or the trunk or the doors, and they're feeling all that. They need to experience it, right? I tell people all the time, the fun part about buying a car is the test drives, right? It's the excitement, it's the engagement, it's being able to sit here and learn and look and experience, and then you got to figure out how you're going to pay for it, right? So get engaged, get happy, get involved. Okay, I started out saying, hey, it is the weekend before Memorial Day. It's going to be a good weekend for us, right? So we need to make sure that we got our appointments set, right? Everybody needs to have 2 appointments today, tomorrow, Sunday, if you're working Sundays. So make sure our managers are helping us out and getting those confirmation calls in. We need to get those appointments confirmed. We know that we have, almost double the show rate when we have a manager confirmation to our appointments that are set. So, hey, let's make sure that we're working for the weekend and that we're paying attention to next week, because this is going to be a big week. The next 10 days, this is it. This is where we make our month. So let's be focused. Let's make sure that we get that greeting out there. We do our needs assessment. We do our tailored product presentation, right? Let's select, let's demo, let's be obsessed. Let's not be average. Let's really put it on, and let's get to work. So, hey, we are the Cardone Group. It is Automotive Fridays. Thank you for your time. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Don't forget 10xyourprofits.com, CardoneInstitute.com. We've got several other links in the videos today, places you can follow us: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Jump on there. We're throwing content out all the time. And anybody that shares this, Lindsay will see you share it. If you tag the Cardone Group, she'll send you a free gift. So I appreciate you. Let's kick butt. Let's have a great weekend. Automotive Friday. See you next week, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Be obsessed or be average.